Hi Tyson, how are you today?
Hi, Johanna. I'm good. How are you?
I am good. So, what brings you here today?
Well, you know, um, I've had a lot of changes recently, and for me, it's been very challenging because some of these changes have like uprooted me to the point where I'm trying to intrinsically find some sort of purpose, some sort of meaning. And it's just, I know this is a general life transition. It's hard. And so I'm just kind of feeling a little bit of a void. I'm feeling like I don't have a purpose. I'm feeling um, like I have no meaning, or what I'm doing doesn't have any meaning.
You,
So,
you feel so confused and bothered, and there's something going on in your mind right now, in your life right now that you want to tell me?
yeah. So I feel stuck. I've just recently moved back in with my parents, which has really limited my my freedom in a sense. I mean, not that they don't care about me and they don't love me. I mean, they've opened their home for me until I can find other arrangements. But even just that general transition of like being on my own and then coming back and moving in with them, you know, there's a sense of a limited mobility, a limited sense of freedom. And even with school, as much as school takes up my time, as much as work takes up my time, I just don't, I'm having problems seeing the bigger picture of why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is there meaning behind it? Is there purpose? Am I on the right direction? And so really being trapped by that
Hmm. So,
limited mobility.
mhm. So I hear that you're feeling sense of that you're limited, and your sense of freedom is limited, and that now you feel like you're stuck because you are staying with your mom's house. And well, do you feel like you are lacking in something?
Well, I feel like there's something that I'm lacking. I don't feel like I have a sense of meaning and purpose like I used to.
Hmm.
And the last time that I really ever remember feeling complete, the last time I really remember ever feeling whole, like that sense of purpose was just kind of like the icing on the cake for me in my proverbial life, was when I was living at the farm. Well, I grew up, I had a farm. We were living on a bunch of farmland. I had a lot of duties and responsibilities, and it taught me a lot of things about myself. It taught me some autonomy and my personality as an individual. It taught me a lot about my sense of freedom, how much that means to me. It taught me a lot about self-discipline. Um, and it taught me a lot about different aspects and components of a working farm, and how even the smallest task is yielding towards something bigger than myself. It's about accomplishing something that's going to eventually go towards a greater good. And right now, I don't feel that. Getting stuck in the rat race of work and school, recent breakup, really bad breakup, um, moving back in with my parents, I feel so stuck. And I feel some way to try and gain my center back so I feel like everything that I'm doing counts. Like that I am working towards a higher purpose, that I do have meaning, that my existence has meaning, that I'm not just here for no purpose, you know?
Hmm. Hmm. So what can you do? What do you think you can do now to establish that meaning? Do you think that you can find anything right now in terms of your relationship, or in terms of the things that you do, that you feel like that's is going to be meaningful in your life?
Well, I felt like through this general transition, with as quickly as everything has happened, that I need to maintain my motivation. And I think one of the best ways that I can do that is to maintain what I call my spirit person. Taking the opportunity, since being on the farm, and it's one of my hopes that I can live on a decent bit of land where it does need some care and uptake, and then I can have a higher purpose to kind of like take care of nature as it's taken care of me all these years. Maybe getting back into nature, finding some time for that self-care to go meditate in the woods or pray in the woods, or I don't know, even going to the beach and building a sandcastle. I don't know. Anything that I can do to be in nature to kind of really help solidify and ground myself again, I think would be a good start.
Mhm. So for you, a meaningful life is um, something that what is a meaningful life to you? What is a meaningful life to you? What can you say about, um, you know, the things that you do or the things that you might do want to do that you feel like this is meaningful to me?
I think on a higher level of kind of perceiving that, it's a matter of working towards something and building something that's going to go towards a greater good, where one day I can sit back and I can relax and I can say, that's good. This has done the universe good. I have done something good for myself, and I have done something good for other people, and something that I can be proud of, something that can be honored and cherished. Um, um, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be this pomp and circumstance, like I want all of this acclamation and like validation, but I want that validation from myself again. Um, so having the freedom to be able to make the choices that I can make to have something that I can work towards, have something that I can leave a family one day that they can enjoy, that their family's family can enjoy. Have something that's directly reminiscent of my human experience on this earth. And then if I can share that with other people, that they can gain what they need to from it as well.
Mhm.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
So you like being in the nature and doing something. You talked about loving being the nature and that just praying and being out there and you feel free whenever you're out there.
yeah.
And then we also talk about building something that you feel like you have accomplished something and that is meaningful to you. Is that correct?
Yeah, and so like if I, like let's say for instance I had a little bit of land, um, get a house, maybe leave that house to some children one day, um, so that they can go on to enjoy the land, they can build upon it, they can create it into something that they see in their image from something that was derived from something before them. The whole idea about a legacy. Even imparting knowledge really would to me would be like a greater good, like having children, being able to teach them how to survive out in the wilderness because I have survival training, and knowledge about surviving and harsh conditions, um, being able to leave that and imparting them with that wisdom, so that they can build upon that and do things for other people as well,
Mhm.
you know um,
Yeah, so
even yeah.
what can you do now to make all these things that you really desire and you want happen?
I think it's a matter of like the more that I kind of sit here and I talk about this with you, and the more that I kind of think about it, um, I think maybe doing some volunteer work at like a local farm. That
Oh,
might be a really
I
good
was just
step.
thinking about that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that might be a really, really cool thing to do. And even if it's like a working farm or a produce farm or anything like that, like as long as it's kind of at that farm setting, like kind of getting back to my roots and more of a, even though I can't go back to the farmland that I used to have because we sold it since we moved into the city, which was a huge transition for me, by the way. And like I felt completely lost and ungrounded when my family moved into the city. I mean, it was like I had to adapt and I had to learn to adapt really quickly.
Mm,
And I think that's really when a lot of my being ungrounded started. But in order to adapt and just keep going, you know, like I don't know. Like I said, I had to adapt to just keep going. I didn't have any other option. But that's when I felt like the most whole and the most complete. But maybe getting back to my roots in a different way of like studying, or not studying, but volunteering at a farm, kind of just allowing myself that manual labor. You know, there's a lot of physical release for me in manual labor.
mhm.
So that might
That
be a good option.
that is a good point, Tyson. I
Kind of excites me a little bit to talk about it. Like I kind of like that idea.
that's good.
Yeah.
That's good. Um, so that is great that you shared all this and how you find meaning in life um, by feeling free and by um, having that higher purpose and thinking that you have that higher purpose in life and I think that it's good that you are thinking about volunteering. In volunteering, this would make you feel like you would go back to your old thinking back about your old life, and it would bring back you know meaningful experiences. And
Right. Yeah.
by doing all that work, you get those meaningful experiences that you feel that you wanted to have.
Yeah. It's kind of like being affirmed. You know, like finding my place.
Hmm.
And like if I found my place, you know, volunteering at a farm, kind of getting back to my roots, I can get back to kind of incorporating that energy into what it is that I'm doing today to find, you know,
Hmm. Hmm.
yeah,
That's great. That's great.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see here. Uh, how do you uh, how do you feel about this session today? Do you feel like you have um, understood the meaning of your life and what is it
Yeah.
important for you?
I think prior to the session, what I can say is that, you know, I came in feeling a little bit not confident in myself, feeling that lack of confidence, not really understanding my purpose, not understanding when and where it left, you know, and understanding kind of like there's an importance of getting back to my roots about how I operate, about what's going to help me operate efficiently to continue my life's work, you know?
Mhm, mhm,
And so I think the session was offered a type of awareness, of knowledge that was unique to me. And I appreciated that. And I appreciate you kind of walking with me on this journey and asking me those questions, because I think that they've kind of helped me circle back around to what's always going to be a driving force inside of me. What's always going to be that kind of mechanism that helps to click and make everything kind of work as like a well-oiled, efficient machine, you know,
mhm.
emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually. Yeah. So definitely got a lot out of our session today. So I certainly appreciate your time.
That is great. That is great. Um, yeah. So, okay. So let us see you again here next week.
Perfect. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, Johanna.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Hi, Johanna. How are you doing today?
I am good, Tyson. Thank you so much for coming to, thank you so much for talking to me today.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate you coming in. What would you like to share with me today?
Well, it's about what's going on right now. There are some times when I feel so anxious about school, and I feel so just stressed out. And how things are, you know, I feel like it's a lot, and with me um, being with my kids right now because they're out of school, so they're staying with me the whole
Mm,
24 hours basically. And with me doing schoolwork, I feel sometimes that it is a lot and it stresses me sometimes. And sometimes I think that maybe I should just not have, not did not do any summer classes, and or maybe did not. Sometimes I wonder if it is the right decision that I went back.
so you're second guessing. You're second guessing yourself as to whether or not school is meaningful enough to you for to continue. It sounds like you have a lot of you're having a little bit of a struggle between your priorities and kind of finding your purpose in the middle of those. Is that correct?
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I know how torn that makes you feel. I can imagine. Because the last thing you want is to feel like a prisoner of your own life.
Yeah.
You know?
Um, yeah, I feel like I know, school is education is very important
Yeah.
to us, to,
Okay.
to my family, and to, everybody in my family. It was always been something big in my family, and they would always give importance in education. That's how we were raised.
Okay. So, kind of sometimes when we think about before we really make a decision and before we really make an action based on those decisions, we kind of have to stop and ask ourselves, am I making this decision out of fear? You know, and kind of going back to the place where we lost ourselves and retracing our steps back then. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yeah.
So, with that kind of being said, when was the last time that you felt true meaning in your educational career? When was the last time that you did feel that sense of drive and that sense of purpose?
Well, during my very end of college years, when I felt like I have to finish college and I have to get that degree. And before that, I was more into, before that year, I just felt like I did a lot of wrong things and wrong decisions with my friends. And I felt like I was spending more time with my friends than um, accomplishing my education. And but after I graduated college, that's when I feel that I had that sense of life and that sense of meaning. Um, when I got that degree, it was wonderful, a wonderful feeling, and wonderful, wonderful achievement.
Excellent. Excellent. So, what was kind of the driving force? It sounds like you had a situation or a couple of situations where you got into a college career, or you got into your college education,
Mhm.
and you met up with some people who kind of derived you and railroaded you off of a different course. Um, that's correct?
That is correct. Well, when I was younger, when beginning college, I just felt like I my friends were. I was more into going out with my friends and what they would um, what they would think of me, and how I would want
Mm.
uh, to make them happy and would want to belong to someone, that I would always continually join them in a lot of extracurricular activities that I have taken my school for granted. And that really not, at that time, I didn't really feel anything that I was losing anything. And I was just,
So would you say you felt a lot of peer pressure because you were seeking that validation from your friends?
that I would say so. I would say
Yeah.
so that there's a lot of peer pressure in my college
Mhm.
years. And that's why I tend to stay with them and stay, uh, agree with what they say, and their views and their opinion and their what they think really mattered to me, that I felt like I had to you know.
Kind of like use them as a mirror to find your own inner validation.
That's right, that's
Yeah.
right.
Which I can see how easy that was to do, considering, college is a very ambiguous time. You're still
Hmm.
learning about yourself, you're still learning about the world, you're still learning about how you fit in with the world, or finding your purpose, finding your meaning, what it is that's going to help you sustain the most positive life that you can sustain. And so a lot of the times we do end up gravitating towards people who we feel like can be a mirror for us, when in all actuality we don't have the standing and the boundaries to be able to kind of make those clear decisions on healthy relationships.
Yeah, it's true. It's true exactly what you just said. That I Yeah, that's what I was doing when I was in my younger years. I basically just keep on um, hanging out with them, making sure and that make the trust, just so that I have somebody to be with and all that stuff that I thought that they were meaning in that. But um,
But it sounds like too, though, and definitely correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like too, though, that you made a decision. You had a choice, and you
mhm,
made a definite decision, and you got that degree. And when you got that degree, you remember how accomplished you felt. You
that's
remember
correct.
the significance of that, the importance of that, how important that was to your own human being.
Yes, yes, that is true. You're right there,
Mm.
Tyson. I felt very like successful, like I have achieved something great for myself, and
Mhm.
yeah, and that was really meaningful for me. And
Good.
I would, this to me, um, you you made me really think about this, because with me talking to you right now, I know that being in this degree right now and then working on this degree right now is something big, and something that I needed for myself, that I feel like I need to accomplish for myself, and I feel that there is a big meaning in this.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and this
You
is.
and something else to maybe think about, not that it's necessary, I'm necessarily implying that your children are making you make bad decisions, but can you see that there's kind of a parallel a little bit between the idea of like, it was your kind of friends, initially stopping you and kind of railroading you. Now it's
Mhm.
kind of this aspect of, I'm a mother, I have responsibilities to someone other than myself. But
That's
as a
correct.
mother, you also have a choice, and you have a unique position that you're in, because you have to take care of your children, who are, probably one of the most, if not the most important thing to you in your life,
That is
um,
right.
and your education. But that's going to be something that's inherently meaningful for you.
Yeah.
But when we do things that are inherently meaningful for us, um, we have that sense of purpose, and we have that sense of drive and that sense of grounding. And when we have that, we can be a better mother. We can be a better daughter. We can be a better friend, a better sister, a better grandmother, whatever role that it is that you have in your life. How do you feel about that?
That I think that you are definitely right there, right on with what you said, exactly what I am feeling, like how I feel that I have achieved something, that I can be a great role model to my kids, and um, that I can be proud, not just about myself, but I'm proud of achieving this with my whole family.
Good.
You know
Good.
that
Excellent. I'm really happy to hear that.
that
Because kind of like, to go back, you were feeling a little bit lost, a little bit
yes,
confused.
yes, you
Yeah.
are very. That's very true. That's very true. But before I
So,
started talking to you, I was feeling like I want to give up. I was feeling down. I was feeling stressed out about school. I was feeling like, what is this that I have put myself into? I was feeling like there was no real importance and meaning. And then you made me just, you know, realize that I have for a very long time put a thought about, going back to school. So it is not something that I did in one
Mm,
day, or I did in a week or a month. It was a long process that I wanted to go back, and I was just waiting for the perfect time. And when it happened, when my son started preschool, I right away went back to school, and I know how this is very important and meaningful to me.
good.
I'm so
Excellent.
glad that I was able to talk to you.
Mm, I'm
To
glad.
yeah,
Perfect. Yeah, excellent. I appreciate that, Johanna, and I'm very um, honored that you were willing to be a part of this and kind of really share with me today some of the worries that you had, and kind of allowing me to go through this transition with you, because it's not easy. It's definitely not easy, and as dramatic as it might sound, and as much as you derive purpose and meaning from being a mother and being a valued part of a family system, there's something to be said about, and this is going to sound dramatic, but there is something to be said about the fact that no one can ever take your degrees away from you. That is something that you've spent a lifetime to achieve. That is something that gives you value, that honors you, and you honor it, and you've
mhm.
done it, and you're doing it, and you're going to keep doing it. And
I want to thank you for that. You remind me so much of. I totally forgot about my aunt, who reminded me so much of what you just told me. And you just said exactly what she used to tell me growing up.
yeah, perfect. So yeah, you can remember, definitely remember our session today. Remember what your aunts told you. Some of those supportive family members have kind of told you. Um, every assignment you turn in, every note that you take, every supply you end up buying for school, every time you log on, every time you do an assignment, it's all going to add up to having that degree in your hand. And that degree in your hand symbolizes accomplishment. And it's something that you're worthy of. Everybody should have the ability to be able to feel accomplished and like they have meaning for themselves.
That's right. And
Yeah.
yeah, you're right. That is true what you just said. And for me, I think this is what is very important and meaningful to me.
Yeah,
And
it sounds like your family was uprooted in this notion of um, having an education. I wonder, do you feel that's like a multicultural value from your
um, I believe it is. It is a multicultural value, and we are very close with not just our immediate family, but to our aunts and uncles and our cousins, and I looking from outside and looking at my life of my cousins and my aunts. They have always put in education first too in their families. So it is something that we all value in our family and also in our culture.
excellent purpose. So perfect. So you find some purpose and meaning in your cultural background as well. That's going to kind of help motivate you towards the assertion of this degree, and I think that's wonderful.
Hmm.
One of the last things I'd kind of like to go through with you, if you're willing, I would like to invite you to kind of talk about some of the self-realizations you've had in our session today, if any.
Hmm.
Which it sounds like you have, but if you'd like to share anything with me in terms of your self-realization about the way you kind of operate, do you think there's kind of anything that resonates with you in that realm?
Um, what did you mean by the way I operate in the way I handle myself? Is that what you're?
Yeah, knowing that, I think because kind of what it's sounding like is there are moments, and I think this is indicative of many people, including myself, where, you know, we get so bound up with energy and we get so unmotivated and so unfocused because of everything else that goes on around them that we tend to shut down and want to make a decision that might not be the best for us. But then we kind of pick ourselves back up and then find some reaffirmation, reaffirm ourselves to kind of motivate us again to get to our purpose.
Yeah.
So do you feel like there have been have you made any kind of revelations with today's session, or kind of gained some self-awareness?
Yes, definitely. As I have mentioned, that you have really made me realize to what is really important in my life, because at first I was really feeling down and feeling low, and then I was doubting myself and what really is meaningful in my life. And then when I started talking to you, I remember you made me realize, and you made me think back of what is really important in my life and what is really meaningful in my life. And I have forgotten that. I got so busy. I got so busy with my life. I got so busy with my kids. I got so busy with school, and so busy with this thing called life, that I was just doing and doing and doing. And I thought, this is important. This is important. This is important. There's just multiple things that I do. And
So what's
what is really the most valuable thing, that is, and the most meaningful things in my life. So then you made me discover myself.
Good. I'm really happy to hear that, Johanna, and I'm very happy to hear that you've kind of made this kind of like self-affirming self-awareness, kind of like these very poignant but very important connections into yourself. And, you know, because in order to shine our light to the world, we kind of need to figure out what all that's made of.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
And what would you say are the more, just to kind of finish up here, I think we're a little bit over time, but if you could kind of summarize it, what's important in your life? What's the most important things to give you meaning?
The most meaningful in my life is, I do have a lot of meaningful things in my life.
Correct.
Well, God first.
Excellent.
And then family.
Okay.
And then education.
Excellent. Those are all three very incredibly wonderful and important things that are really going to help you establish yourself throughout this transition of going to school and maintaining all of this. So I'm super happy that we could kind of like go on this journey together, kind of like help you realize what's going to keep you motivated and kind of like go from there. So I've really enjoyed our time together today, Johanna, and I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to talking with you soon.
Okay, thank you so much for the session today and for listening to me and making me remember who I am.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll see you next week.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye.